I'm just going to pray and then I'll go on. But Lord, we thank you for today. We thank you for all that you are. We thank you for your word. We thank you for your praise. We thank you for your worship. We thank you for the opportunity to be able to lift you and to tell you thank you, oh God, with our hands and with our mouth personally, oh God. God, we thank you for keeping us from all hurt, harm, and danger, oh God. We thank you for being able to see each other's smiling faces one more time. God, we ask that your word may go forth and accomplish all that you would have for it to accomplish. Oh God, we ask that you hide me, that they may see none of me, but all of you, oh God. God, we ask that your word do everything, oh God, in this place on today. All these things we ask and pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Pastor's been teaching on construction. And today, I want to talk to you all about renovation requested. Again, that is renovation requested. And we're going to be coming from the 52nd division of Psalms. Again, that's the 52nd division of Psalms, verses 6 and 7. Now, I will reference some more of it, but this is where we're going to be talking about today. Behold, you desire truth in the inward parts, and in the hidden part you will make me to know wisdom. Purge me with hyssop, and I shall be clean. Wash me, and I shall be whiter than snow. Now, one of my favorite shows to watch, I kind of keep it on this channel a lot, is HGTV. But I'm not, well, I can do some things, but I'm not the handyman. I just love to watch the renovation projects, is what I like. I like when they take something old that has been considered inhabitable or nobody wants anymore, and they gut it, or they do a light construction, reconstruction, or they gut it, and it looks like a whole nother building on the inside. Now, they paint the outside. They usually don't do a whole lot of change to the outside. But, you know, it's still the same structure, but the inside is totally different, and a lot of times completely done all over again. And the reason why I'm saying this, David at this time was praying. This is David talking. And David had committed a sin in his life, and he was repentant unto God. And just to give you a little backstory, those of you who don't know, David was the chosen man of God, and even with him being chosen, he did some really trifling things, if we could say it that way. If you all go back, if you read, I believe it's 2 Samuel, the 11th chapter, just read the whole chapter, and it tells you the story I'm about to tell you. I'm just going to go over it lightly. David was, he saw this woman, and he looked on her, and he wanted to have this woman. Now, they told him that this woman belonged to a man named Uriah. So David had a chance to back off and say, well, this woman belongs to another man, she's married. But even then, he used his authority and had her summons to him. And later on, they went on and they were together. And time passed, and she was with child. So she told David, and David, now her husband was away fighting in the army for David. So David had him summons to come home because he wanted him to go lay with his wife so he would believe that that was his child. Well, the man was so committed, Uriah was so committed, that he chose to stay with the other servants, and he said, I will not go home, eat, drink, be merry, and lay with my wife when there's a work to be done that I've already committed to. So David was kind of like, that didn't work. So David later tried and, entertained him and got him drunk. That still didn't work. He still didn't go home. So David had him put on the front line of the hottest battle, which in turn Uriah died. But what's crazy is David was so bold, he gave Uriah the letter to deliver to the captain to tell him, what's to be done with him. So So I'm saying all this to say, even David was repenting because he had this man killed because he had slept with this man's wife and they had conceived a child. So David went on, living and everything like that. So at this time in Psalms, he is repenting to the Lord. And he is saying, when he said, behold, you desire the truth in the inward parts. You can leave it up. In the inward parts, and in the hidden part, you will make me to know your wisdom. The Lord knows everything about us from the beginning. But it is for us to be truthful. David was confessing that I want you, the truth. I want you in everything I am, in all of me, in the deepest parts of me. Now, when I was looking up the word truth, in the modern day terminology, it was kind of vague because it kept saying truth is relative. Which means truth is only truth according to certain situations by the modern day term. So what is true for you might not be true for you. Now, this is not the truth that David was requesting. He was requesting the truth of God. Now, the Greek word for truth is, I'm going to say it, I might mess it up, but aletheia, which literally means unhide or hiding nothing. I want it all. I want to know you in your fullness and completeness. The Hebrew word for truth is emeth, which means firmness, consistency, duration. Now, why did I give you these words? Well, because that's how it was interpreted during that time. So we will have an idea what he was talking about when he said, I want the truth in the inward part of me. Lord, I want you to hide nothing of you from me. I want you to correct me in every situation, in everything that I do. And not only do I want you to not hide, I want it to be firm. I want you to really mean that thing. I want you to do it and to be consistent with it. Now, a lot of times, growing up, I don't have children, but growing up, your parents discipline you, and sometimes you get away with stuff, so you get to thinking, I can do it again. So, you get, they say you're getting slick. But, we do it even as grown-ups and, in the natural. And what I mean by that is we think because God is not always beating us over the head that he is not watching us. So we think that he is not consistent in his judgment. Yes, he is. So he is saying, I want the Lord to be consistent for duration. That means for always, to continually do that and be that truth for me, to continually operate in this way for me. And so many times we get in a place to where we get comfortable. And what I mean by comfortable is we get set in our ways. And there is nothing worse than when you get set in your ways and you get so comfortable that you start doing things out of routine that are offensive. And you never do a self-check. Now, what was interesting was David had to do a self-check to continue on. And so many times we think our titles or our positions, we get caught up in that kind of stuff. We get caught up in, the Lord chose me, so I'm perfect. Come on. The Lord knows everything I do, so I don't have to repent. Let's stop the madness. There is nothing wrong with taking a little time and confessing to the Lord, Lord, I need you. I need your truth. We hear many different things spiritually and naturally all day, every day. You hear the news, you hear the Word Network, you hear TBN, you hear the local pastors, you hear your friends. All of that is coming into us. And all of that, if we're not careful, we can easily take on the thoughts of other people. And I'm saying this because I have done it. I remember I had a former pastor, not talking down on anybody. They used to preach the sermon where it talks about having a thorn in my flesh. They used to always say that thorn was not a sinful desire. Who told you that? And because me being naive and not wanting to buck against the system, one time I was really preaching, almost hollering. I don't even do it too often. Almost hollering and talking about that thorn is not of the flesh. That thorn is not a sexual desire. Who told you that? So I had to tell the Lord, I want your truth. I want your truth. Now that means you have to be ready for some things where you want the Lord to speak his truth and for his truth to reign in your life. People are not going to like you. I'm not saying for you to be offensive, rude, arrogant, or nasty. That is not what the Lord is giving you permission to do or for you to be. I'm saying people are not going to like you because you will buck unintentionally. I don't mean no harm, but I'm not going that way, or I'm not going to do that, or I don't agree. And there is nothing wrong with you standing for what you believe to be the truth of God in your life. Because so many times when we take on other people's ideas, we're uncomfortable anyway, and you half-heartedly do it. So what I'm saying is David had to tell the Lord, I need you. Even in my error, in my ways of sin, I need you, Lord. Excuse me. And he said, I want your wisdom. Now, what was interesting about wisdom in the biblical, here we go. Wisdom is the ability to judge correctly and to follow the best course of action based on the knowledge and understanding. All of that means through everything that you have been through, there is a purpose behind it. For everything that you have witnessed other people go through, that is to help you to make better decisions along the way. That is what wisdom is. Wisdom is a collection of experiences. You can even say a collection of testimonies that people have told you, okay, I did this and this is what happened. And one of the prime examples I can give you is, no, not throwing off on anybody, but when you try drugs, everybody says whatever the particular drug is, that one won't bother me that way. Especially if we have done one or two type of drugs and we're okay. We really think I can experiment a little further because, you know, I had a friend to tell me, bless their heart, you know, I'm kind of not immune, but I forgot the word he said, but, you know, my body doesn't take on the same reaction as other people. Foolish talk! I told him, now, brother, love you, let's back it up. Let's back it all the way up because you're feeling yourself right now. Now, you feeling good and yeah, I've done this, I've done that, and I'm still cool. I don't have to have it. Well, why don't you stop it with that? Quit playing with stuff and then end up like, oh, I don't know how I got here because you kept going.
You're telling the truth, man.
And it's not only drug, it's with anything. It didn't bother me the first time. I was okay, even the second, third time. And then the next thing you know, you're hooked. That thing has got a hold of you so bad, you can't shake it. You feel you can't pray it. You feel you can't shout it. And then what's really bad is you're embarrassed because you're walking around wondering, who knows I'm in the state that I'm in.
You better say that.
Which affects you because then you can't flow or operate. And I'm not talking about preaching. I'm talking about being able to hug somebody. I'm talking about being able just to say hello. I can't speak to you because I got an attitude, because I'm mad, because I think you're judging me. Most of the time, people don't even know what's going on with you. They might just be trying to wonder why you look like that.
What you said?
I'm a prime example. I try to be more conscious, about smiling. But you can see me in public, and I will have a look on my face, and I don't mean nothing towards nobody. It was kind of inherited. I was going to a play last night, and I waved at somebody, and they didn't know who I was till I waved, because usually in waving, then you smile. They was like, "What's wrong with you?" I was like, "Nothing. Just thinking about where I'm walking, watching my feet, nothing." But I'm saying you have to be cautious and conscious of everything. And don't be so caught up in to think people are always judging you. Half the time people are judging you because they're judging themselves.
That's true.
David could not get caught up, and yes, people probably knew. People probably knew, even in his leadership. People probably knew what was going on. Now, let me help you out one more time. Sometimes when you're in certain positions, people are not inclined to say things to you because they're intimidated. That don't mean they don't know. That doesn't mean that gives you the opportunity to keep continuing in that way that you should not be, because nobody knows. So you think. God is merciful. And he continues to give us chance after chance. And nobody likes to be embarrassed. Because the day that somebody tells you, "Yeah, I knew," you ready to be like, "Well, you was always meddling." Which is not the case. You don't know how they knew. There have been many times I have been asleep and I've had the weirdest dream. And it'd be about somebody that I ain't talked to in months. In months. I don't mean to say I ain't thought about them, but I haven't. I ain't called them. I ain't checked I ain't fought. We cool, but I ain't, we not on that. And the dream was so vivid. When I woke up, I called Pastor Mario everybody likes, I don't know, I'm not going to speak for everybody, but who in here likes to be disturbed in their sleep? Sometimes those kind of dreams, you can't sleep. When the Lord is speaking, and if you try to, you ain't sleep because you keep tossing and turning. And what I learned to do is just get up. If I got my phone, I just go to my notepad, write a note real quick. All right, Lord, we'll hit it back at another point. Can I close my eyes, please? I got you. I heard it. Or some people have a notebook they keep beside their bed or whatever. I know Ebony says she write all the time. And I'm sure some of that writing is not book stuff. It's, okay, the Lord said. And reason why it's important for you to continue on, and it's not what I keep trying to tell people, it's not about your calling. What I mean by that, usher, the Lord speaks to everybody. The Lord speaks to people who don't have any activity in the church, who are not active in anything. If your heart is open, the Lord will speak to you. And a lot of times you might not know what to do with it, but I'm begging you, please make note of that. Please, because what happened is things are happening in your life, and you will try to remember, and you'd be like, well, no. Or you're trying to tell somebody, I did this, that, and the other, and you want to recall because it helped you the way it did verbatim, so you want to give it to the next person, and then you're like, no. Which then makes you feel like you didn't hear from the beginning. So, David, moving on, David, after he said he wanted all these things, and how he told the Lord how he wanted it. He then told the Lord to wash him. And he used hyssop was one of the things that was what he told the Lord to wash him with. And here it is. It is an herb, a species of marjoram, and a member of the mint family. It is common herb that was used as a cleaning agent that has long been considered aromatic and medical herb. Medicinal. Thank you, Lord. Come on. I had to walk away for a minute and close my eyes. But thank you, Lord. But he had told the Lord to wash me with hyssop. Now,
That's the Bible.
we so many times want to take this washing something lightly. We want to take this wash as a brief cleansing. A drive-through. We ran through the water hose and now we all right. Now, I'm not speaking in sprinkling versus being baptized. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about being washed. And those of you, my mother's from the country in Mississippi, and sometimes when we were younger, we would go down there, and they would have these washboards on the wall. And me and my brother kept saying, what is that? What is that? And some people would even have it in the tin tub still. And I was born in the 80s, so you talking about in the late 80s and 90s, people saying, y'all washing machine? But anyhow, so what I'm saying is they had to scrub to wash. Now, hyssop had a natural detergent to it. So he was saying, wash me with hyssop. That means I needed a little extra than just regular water. Some of us need a little bit more scrubbing than others. No judgment, but you know what you have done and where you have been. It's no judgment. I'm not looking at you saying you need more. I need hyssop. And it's not, let me help you. It's not a one-time thing. Because a lot of times we go through life and feel like, oh, Lord, you brought me out of that. I feel all right. I got the victory. I'm operating. I'm moving. So I'm all right. But I told you, you still living life every day. And you're still taking on different people's situation. You're counseling people. You're helping people. You have needs yourself. So that means you take on other things. So every now and then you need to be rewashed. I keep telling you, don't feel like you're being judged. It's not in judgment. It's in concern. And what I mean by that is I myself, every so often, Lord, do what you do that only you can do it. Only you know. And yes, I have people that I talk to. Yes, there are people that I confess my sins to. But I don't know nobody who tells everybody everything. And sometimes those little things that you're not telling are the real strongholds in your life that are got you bound and are holding tight to you. Now, David said, in every way, I want to know your truth. And I want your wisdom. And to wash me, and after you wash me, I shall be whiter than snow. It goes on down a little further. He then says, after you do it, I will teach the transgressors. I will confess. I will tell them about how good you are, how they can make it, how I came through. But I need you to do it for me first. And that is not being stingy. That is not being self-concerned, being self-absorbed. That is just knowing where you stand. And when I talk about a renovation requested, he asked the Lord to do this for him. He made his request known before the Lord. Now, I told you that's one of my favorite, my favorite stations. Now, one thing about a renovation is you cannot time it. And sometimes the deeper the renovation, the longer it goes and the more money it costs. So when you get to the place to where you tell the Lord, I want you, I want your truth, be prepared for there to be some time where you think you should be over it and the Lord is still doing the work.
Come on. Say that.
Know that you can't tell the Lord, I need to be ready in 3 weeks. You can't do that because a lot of times you're not conscious of what, all is in your mind or down on the inward part of you, because as the Lord starts revealing things to you and he starts peeling back the layers, other stuff starts jumping out. You didn't know you was angry until you were single.
You better say that.
You didn't know that. But because you had an opportunity to be with somebody, in bliss, whatever, all the time, you didn't look at yourself. Now, they probably knew you was angry. But you didn't know that. But when the Lord took you through that period of separation, and then not only was you angry, you was impatient. So I'm saying you can't, if you want the Lord to deal with you in truth, all of that. Let him deal with everything. Not only, was you impatient, you really didn't like to be around people. How? Now, another confession. I like confessing because it helps me. Now, it's not that I do not like being around people, but I don't know, I'm fine with not being around people. But when I'm around people, I operate. You get what I mean? I can jump in, hey. But when I'm not jumping, I am perfectly fine in silence. I'm not on the phone trying to see what's going on around the corner. I scroll. I am social media, but I scroll, but it's maybe once a day, if it's that much. And that's just trying to be a little more aware of what may be going on with the life of the people that I have been appointed over. So, there are things that you all may post that, might need prayer at the time. Or I might read something and you don't know it, but just to tell you all, be careful, because a lot of those things that you speak, it's not so much, that's why people think you're crazy. And this is what I mean. Because you're smiling. I just saw you smiling, but everything you just posted was people get on my nerves, or people always trying me, people. Or you subliminally talk. I wonder why they just thought they was going to walk past me. Stop that. Please. And what I'm telling you that because then you say people judge you. You just put yourself to be judged. Nobody knew what was going on in your mind till your fingers was going. Nobody knew that. If you had a kept out, you know, we say keep our mouth. If you had a kept your fingers, and even if you wrote it, if you did not press send, you had time to backtrack. But I'm saying that to say that is all part of the reconstruction that goes on. You have to learn when it's appropriate for you to give your opinion. You have to learn when it's appropriate for you to let the world know that I am emotional. And I was telling people, you can't work in the kingdom if you don't have your emotions under control. I can't encourage you if I'm mad all the time about something that is simplistic. You burned your shirt this morning. You was rushing, you burned your shirt. Your whole day is ruined. Man, get another shirt. Woman, get another shirt. Now, I'm not telling you, it might not take me 30 minutes to get myself together, because that means I might be late to where I'm going. But once you get there, I promise you, I've really been on this confession thing real hard lately. Okay, I'm sorry. This is what happened. Give me 5 minutes. Just give me 5 minutes, please. Let's talk about something. What's going on in your mind? What's going on in your life? Come on. And then, I'm able to do what I need to do. But I'm saying you have to learn how to gather yourself. David could not flow in unforgiveness all the time if he wanted to be the man that God had called him to be. He had to realize, Lord, I need you to help me. And if you would do this for me, then I am able to do what you would have me to do. And what's really crazy is David was still chosen before all of this. David was chosen. And sometimes we get distracted in mistakes. We get distracted in letdowns or things that either happen to us or things we've done. It has the ability to throw us completely off. But you have to learn how to gather yourself and know the God's word still stands. The first word he spoke still stands. One time I was here praying, and I was like, Lord, I just feel like, you sure me? You sure? You sure? You sure? And as clear as day, I heard the Lord say, you do what I tell you to do. You just do as I tell you to do it, you do it, and everything will work out to the way that it's supposed to. Sometimes you have to be able to follow simple instructions. Sometimes we get caught up in, I don't have a life plan. And the beginning of this year, everybody was doing the vision boards, which is great. I don't have a vision. Ask the Lord to get, for you to follow the baby steps. What does that mean? As he tells you to get to work on time, get to work on time. It's that simple. It is that simple. As he tells you to learn how to speak to people, start speaking to people. All of that will lead to greater things. Sometimes there's a person I know, they don't understand. They want everything to happen all at once. The vision is not going to fall out of the sky. Your company is not coming with the bank account you need, with everything you need in it, with all the employees, with the 401k. All of that is not coming at one time. Come on. You have to learn how to, as the Lord gives you, instruction, you're working toward that thing to complete it. And know that you have to have faith that the Lord is going to do that for you. Excuse me. Know that even if I fall short, if I come to the Lord, he will hear me. Renovation does come with surprises. And I told you that. It comes with things that you never would have thought were going to happen. When you watch the show and somebody thinks, I'm just going to change 2 plugs. And the man comes in and says, you have to rewire the whole house. That wasn't in my budget. Well, you know, it's TV, so it mysteriously appears from somewhere. That's not real life. That's not real life in the meaning of when you say, Lord, you know, I just need you to, you know, help me be nice to people. And then he removes you from the whole circle of nasty people that you didn't know was nasty because you operated just like them. And then you're like, I have no friends. I have nobody to talk to. I have nobody to be around. And we'll say, you took everything from me, Lord. Now, if that was your everything, that's really bad, because you have to learn how Jesus is supposed to be our everything. The one that provides everything is supposed to be our everything. So what I'm saying is, don't get shaken up when everything looks so unfamiliar. Don't get distracted when your whole circle is just different. Don't get distracted when you have to start a new job and they tell you everything that you thought you knew you don't know, and I need you to learn this system. I need you to learn this way. It's okay. And actually, you should look at it as it's advancing me because it's the more knowledge that I'm gaining. I'm able to do 2, 3 systems when I only knew one. So you can't get caught up in, you know, everything not looking so familiar. And I want you, if you would turn to James chapter 1. And that is James chapter 1. And we're going to start at, I believe it's just 2 through 4 I want to read. My brother, count it all joy when you fall into divers temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. But let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. Now, I'm telling you this because in construction, reconstruction, or renovation, you have to be patient. Yes, there will be things to tempt you to say, I don't need it done this way. I don't have time for this. I want it done faster. People will even give you invitations and tell you, I can do that for you. You have to know that now those temptations aren't coming to throw you off. They're coming to test your faith. If you're going to believe that the Lord has really got you under construction and he's really got this thing under control. Now, it is to help you out, to encourage you, I must be doing something right. Because when you was doing something wrong, they wasn't giving you an invitation to get better. So in your journey to doing things right, or to asking the Lord to make you right, or to make you whole, whatever your plea is before the Lord, know that there will be things to come to tempt you, to throw you off. But let patience have its perfect, it says her perfect work, that you may be entire and complete, wanting nothing. There is nothing better than when the renovation is complete and the people walk in the house, they got everything they asked for and even more. There is nothing better to when you let the Lord do it the way he wants to do it. You will be so surprised at how you come out in the end. Because a lot of times when our vision, you know, we want a house with the picket fence, but you don't want to paint the picket fence, 5 years later. Or when somebody break the picket fence, you don't want to replace it because, well, why they cost so much? Well, that's what you wanted. I can tell you, when I got my car, it ain't even like a luxury car, but when I got my car, I just like the way it drove. That is the only reason I bought it. I like the way it drove, but it came time to get tires. And I had been driving older cars, like late model 90 cars. This was the first time I had bought a car off the lot. So I was used to maybe $600, That's a good tire on that. On the cars I was driving, that was a little splurge. So I'm like, oh, okay, I got that, I'm all right. Go get me some tires. So the man asked me, we was going through the sizes and things. So they pulled up on the screen. And I said, whose tires are those? And he said, that's what you need. No. I was thinking about $600. He was like, oh, well, that may get you 2 tires. And that is kind of mediocre, that ain't even what you need. I was like, man, them people didn't tell me all this when I bought this car. I didn't know what no low-profile tire was. I didn't know that kind of stuff. I just liked the way it drove, and I thought it looked good. Now, don't get me wrong. I did do some research on the car, fuel stuff, that kind of stuff I knew. But I just didn't know that once you elevate, things cost more. So once you elevate spiritually, things cost more. What am I saying to you? He will take you. You will lose friends. And it's not that you did anything to them. It's not that you said anything to them. The Lord will easily just smooth it out. Y'all will just start going separate directions. All the things you know is, why ain't I talk to such and such? It's been 6 months. We used to talk all the time. We used to hang out. And the next thing you know, it's no, what I mean is you didn't do anything to run them away. It just happened like that. So what I'm telling you, things cost more. The more you want in God, the more you want him to do, it's going to cost you more. I'm not saying this for you to say, well, I remember if y'all ever hear some comedians say, I can't come to God because he's going to take all my money. And I was like, what you mean he gonna take all your money? Because, they believe they got it ill, through things or speaking unclean, whatever the case is, how they got rich. Who told you the Lord is gonna take everything you got for you to follow him? That's not what he means when he says, give up everything. That is not what he means. So don't think you can't follow the Lord because you got to give up that good paying job. Don't think you can't come to the Lord because you got to give up, where you live or what you own. That is not what that means now. The Lord will have his way in the situation when you give him free reign, and you can't get discouraged if he does remove you from everything that you know and every area that you're comfortable with. Now he will do it so he can take you to better and bigger things. So you can't get so distracted in, Lord, you took my job. Lord, you took my friend. Lord, that wasn't even providing for you where you were. That person couldn't even speak life into you. You just called them because you knew you could cry on the telephone. You weren't even happy at that job. Even if you made, a good amount of money, you complained that every post is, thank God it's Friday. 2 more days till Friday come. I don't answer work emails on the weekend. So when the Lord do these things for you, don't get so caught up in holding on to what I once had or everything I know. You cannot get distracted by those things. You have to know that when you tell the Lord, I am ready for you to do a work in me, let the Lord do it. Let his truth be so real to you that it surprises you. Let his wisdom take you to places that you didn't even know I had the ability to. How did I get here? I was just walking. And I looked around and everything was beautiful. Why? Because you had the wisdom to keep walking. You had the life experience to not turn around to those things that are familiar. Let the Lord do it. Let the Lord wash you. I'm talking about wash you to the place to where you don't even recognize the image that's in the mirror. Let the Lord wash you to the place to when, I don't know if you have had the experience when you go around somebody and they're like, you've changed. No, you're not thinking because you know you used to being in routine. There's something different about you. And, you know, us funny people that think we funny. Oh, I did lose about 10 pounds, you know. That ain't what they mean. That means they see the difference in you. That is your encouragement to let the Lord, you know, for you to know that the Lord is doing a work in you. And there's nothing better than for it to happen when you're still in the washing process.
My God. My God.
There is nothing to be, better than to be encouraged when you feel like I'm not quite there yet. The Lord will send people your way to let you know, brother, that smile look good on your face. You know, I just like being around you. Why I like being, I don't know. But you know, hey, come on, let's go. So I'm saying the Lord will encourage you. Do not get distracted in the places where you feel you're not complete. Don't get distracted when the areas where you feel like the Lord hadn't. If you asked him to wash you, listen to what you asked him to wash you. Let him do it. Let him do it. Let patience have its perfect work. And I just said that because it wins every time. It wins every time. We have all kind of life experiences sitting right here under this roof by itself. I'm talking about things that people are currently going through, that you can't see through the smile, that you can't interpret through the hug, that you can't interpret by me, just speaking to you. But the Lord is doing some washing. And he is encouraging people just to continue in that washing, because you are going to come out white as snow. David didn't ask with the intentions of not being pure in the end. He asked because he wanted to be pure. So when you ask the Lord to do this work for you, know where you want him to, know how you want to come out in the end. Yeah. Don't just say it and don't have any intentions of being complete. Know that I'm going through some things because the Lord is completing me. The Lord is washing me. He is making me whole. I have come to an end. I don't have a tune for you today. No, not that neither. But people of God, those of you who are on Facebook Live, Periscope, wherever you may be, know that when you ask the Lord to do the work in you, have patience. Have patience and know that the Lord is going to do it. And have patience so you can be able to do it completely. Sometimes we think because the Lord approved one thing, we're ready. You might not be ready, for your process might not be complete. You might not be made complete yet. Just because you got over one hurdle. Those of you who like track and field, there's a series of hurdles that people have to run around before they get to the finish line. So in your process of being made complete, there may be several things. And I told you, as the layers get peeled back, you don't know what's in you. You don't know what is in you. You don't know what people have spoken in your life. You don't know that when things happen to you as a child, that you hid those things on the inward part of you and they developed into something else. You don't know that when you experience different traumatic situations, how you withheld that and what it turned into. So let the Lord do his work in you and be patient. Don't worry about the rush. Don't worry about the timing. Don't even worry about if it looks like, I said looks like, someone else is being completed before you. Because you don't know what all they have to get delivered from. So in your request, in this renovation period, in this period of construction, in this period of the Lord making us over, please have patience. Please let the Lord ask the Lord for all of him, all of his truth, all of his wisdom. that you may do everything that the Lord will have you to do, and you may do it the way the Lord wants you to do it. Not the way man thinks you could do it, not the way men think you should do it. Because if you depend on man, your feelings will get hurt, because they'll tell you to do it one way, and then they'll turn around and do it the way they wanted to do it. Or they might even do it the way they knew God meant for you to do it, because they thought you was going to get too much shine. So do what God will have you to do, and be the way God will have you to be. If there